Good morning, children of God. So a friend of mine sent me a note the other day and said, "What is that golden orb in the sky? It's been so long, I don't know what it is." For those of you who don't live locally or watching us, we actually have sunshine here in Medford. Yay! Which leads to this. Some say suffer. Some say serve. Some say detach. Who says find your highest right for yourself? Find your highest right for yourself. In order to do that, you have to know where to go. I have a note that says where to go. In the silence. Let's stand and begin the celebration this morning. In the silence. O loving Father, Mother God, we acknowledge your presence, moving in and through us in this moment. With each breath we take, we choose to be open. With each breath we take, we choose to be receptive to your instruction and to your guidance. With each breath we take, we are grateful for the opportunity to come together, to worship, to sing, and to pray in the name, in the nature, and in the power of the Christ. Amen.
Today's daily word is grace, and Christina will read for us.
Good morning, brothers and sisters.
Good morning.
I love the sunshine, don't you? Oh, I can just bask in it. This week, we're talking about grace. I accept grace with a grateful heart. Grace is woven into the very fabric of my being. It is the goodness of God at work in my life. I accept grace as the redeeming, uplifting, and transforming power of God working in and through me now. Grace is an expression of God's love, and I receive it every day with a grateful heart. I experience grace as a nudge to pay attention, as a second chance, as an unexpected good, or a better than expected good. Well, can't beat that. When I allow room for God's grace, good blossoms in my consciousness. Forgiveness, generosity, and love come naturally, and I am blessed. Life is easier when I am open to God's grace. Following Spirit's lead, I no longer paddle through the current, but flow with the stream of divine life. The grace of the Lord Jesus Christ be with your spirit.
We're going to go into prayer and meditation here in a second, but I need to share with you just because it's my world and I get to. From time to time, you should come early. like around somewhere between 10 and 10:30. And the reason you should do that is you would then have the opportunity to experience imperfection at its best. This is when we work together to see if we're really on the same page today. Or not. Are we going to remember all the notes today? Yay! Am I going to sing solo? So low that you can't hear me? And we put things together. And we let God work. And we share with one another in developing this celebration. Now, it doesn't mean that we don't work all week long, or forever for that matter, to make it happen. But that time in the morning where we have the opportunity to get together for just a few minutes and play with one another, we set a tone. And then we both do the same kind of thing in different ways. Sometimes we go to a wall and go, right? But most times what we do is we just go apart and we bring it inside. And we know who's in charge. We know that God's in charge. And once we can remember that, then we can begin to allow that flow to take place. So, in thinking about that, let's remember who we are and take our affirmation. Together? I am a child of the living God. I have within me the all-creating power of the Christ. It radiates from me and blesses all whom I contact. I am now in the presence of pure being and immersed in the Holy Spirit of life, love, and wisdom. I am now in the presence. Let's rest in that. Join with Steve. The Father and I are one. From your heart now. Having spoken and sung these words of truth of us and affirming our oneness, we rest. Gently, easily, effortlessly. We move to that place in consciousness that Jesus called our inner closet, our secret place. Here, I rest. Here, I listen. Here, answers come. Peace, be still. Those thoughts and feelings of what I should have done gently drift away. Peace, be still. Those thoughts and feelings of what I have yet to do, I put on hold. I can pick them back up. But for right now, for this holy moment, I let them rest as well. Here, all my needs are met. Here, truth comes. God is all, both visible and invisible. This one that is all is perfect life, love, intelligence, and substance. Man is, and therefore I am, one with God and one with this perfect life, love, intelligence, and substance. This day, in this moment, I claim the truth of me, regardless of appearance. I am whole and well, regardless of appearance. This day, I hold to the truth of my being. The Father and I are one. Learning to ask in prayer, ask believing, I know it is done. And here in the silence, answers come. From our music, from the still small voice that says, you are my beloved, in whom I am well pleased. To the not so quiet, let me love on you and hug your neck. Whatever the message comes to you this day, embrace it. It is the truth. This day, claim it. This day, immerse yourself in it. Breathe. Again. With a deep cleansing breath, I breathe in life. As I exhale, I gently and easily loose all that which no longer serves me. this day. I accept that I am a channel through which God moves into my world. This flow of life, this flow of idea, concepts, perfect life, perfect love, perfect intelligence, perfect substance flows through me, from me, right now. The gifts which have come to me this day, I take as I need and I send on their way into this place, or the thought of like mind comes together. In this moment, I am blessed. The flow continues into our community, wherever that may be, touching each and every one of God's children. In this moment, I am blessed. Across our state, across our country, around our world, touching each and every one of God's children. I am blessed. Affirming the truth of us, that we are never separate one from the other, we know that somewhere, someone is saying thank you, thank you, thank you for the gifts that have moved through you, are exactly what I needed in this moment. I am grateful, and that gratitude swells up and returns to you as part of this flow. I am blessed. I breathe it, I live it, I rest in it for one holy moment. Knowing there is more yet for me to do this day, gently and easily holding to this experience we have shared, we bring our attention back to this now, to this place. And from our hearts we pray as Jesus, our elder brother, has taught us, when he said, "As for you, pray therefore in this manner." Fun stuff. Last week, we talked a little bit about building an ark. And as part of my planning, research, I go back to that which I thought I knew and really didn't. 200, 400, 600. This is a multiple choice. Of the three, how old was Noah? Anybody know? It's a choice. 3 of them. 200, 400, 600. 600. Noah was 600 years old. So for those of you who are wondering, how did he handle all the manure problems with the animals? Probably had it pretty well figured out in 600 years. Just saying. I had forgotten. And then the way my mind works is that he took his wife with him. How old was Mama Noah? Doesn't say.
16.
Could be 15 or 16. Well, based on what happens later in all the begatting stuff, I have to think you're right. Probably 16, 15. And he took with him 3 sons and their wives. How old were the sons? Doesn't say. And their wives? Doesn't say. But based on what occurs later in Genesis, there's a whole lot of begatting going on. Pick a number. See, it's another reminder that the story is a parable about what's going on in our world and how we can use that Noah experience in our life today. And we start with walking with God. Noah was one of those, is the way it's Genesis 6, by the way. If you want to go play with it, it starts in Genesis 6 and 7 and 8, right in that range. And there's great pieces to that story, and there's a lot of metaphysics involved in that story that we just need to remember from time to time so that we can then put things together. And that's what we're going to talk about today, is the golden key. One of the things that occurred when instruction was given to Noah was to build the ark so many cubits by so many cubits. Right? We're still working on the cubit thing. I'm just saying. And the fun thing is as you experiment this, there are people who have figured this out. You can find online today building plans for the ark. Maybe. Now I say maybe because so much of the detail in the Bible of how-tos isn't there. It just kind of gives a description. For those who know the description, you build a door on the side. And there'll be 3 decks, a lower and 2 above it. Why 3? Well, that's all the room you need. Right? I don't know. That's just because it says it. But the one piece that's there, and I have to tell you, I looked and looked and looked, and I could not find, in my mind, an accurate representation of the ark, because every last picture I saw had portholes. Because that's what we would want. If I'm going on an ark, I want a porthole. That wasn't the instruction. The instruction, it will have 1 window. 1. A cubit from above. In other words, the roof, and there's that cubit thing again, and 1 window. This is the only drawing that I could find. This is, oh, by the way, part of the design features to build your very own ark. Anyway, there's a roof, and 1 cubit above the roof is the window, and then there's the parapet above that. The parapet designed to do what? Keep water out of the window. Why? It's going to rain a lot. Right? Now, that's assumption. It doesn't say that in the Bible. But from a building standpoint, it makes perfect sense. I don't want to build a window where the water is going to get in. What good is that? Which reminds me of a horrid joke about the Italian Navy and their submarines don't work very well. because they have screen doors. Just saying, yeah. Those kind of things. The ark did not have a screen door. One window. Look where it is. 1 cubit above, which required those inside, in order to see the light, to do what? Look up and see God. We want a porthole. Because, of course, we believe there is only one God. God is all, both visible and invisible, perfect. Open the porthole. 6 more feet and rising. Oops. I focused back on the problem. God is in charge of my world. So I think it's a Johnny Cash song. 6 more feet and rising in there somewhere in there. Somebody will tell me. I think I've heard it somewhere. Once again, I'm focused on the problem. See, God knew enough and God knows enough through this story for you and I to say, when you want to solve a problem, don't look at it. That doesn't mean you ignore it. But I need to build my ark. That sanctuary of thought that will float above the trouble. And in it I have to have a window where I will look up. In other words, lift my consciousness and focus on the truth of who I am, knowing where the solution lies. Not out the portal. Right? There's a plan in there. And the other thing that's really kind of fascinating about it, and it's one of those pieces that I look at and say, thank goodness that the story was written when it was, because part of it talks about you're going to bring in the animals. Yeah? 7 pair of clean and 1 pair of each of the unclean. So if animals represent thoughts and I want to bring true thought into my ark, how many of you would leave the unclean animals behind? How well can you tread water? Right? Wouldn't you think about that? Because what do I want in my ark? I want the truth. Here's part of the truth. It is your creation, all of it. Both the clean and the unclean. You need the unclean because there is a redemption piece in there. I need to learn how to make all my thoughts the truth of who I am and clean, as opposed to separateness. And I was thinking about this morning. I said, how am I going to word this? I want to tell the story the way it is. On the one hand, on the other hand, I don't know that I want to upset the whole world. So, well, hell, I'll just tell the story. A pair. And the story says male and female. And metaphysically, this is where I'm going to get in trouble. Metaphysically, that means good and bad. Ah, I heard you. I need to flip that. Good and bad. Positive and negative. Really? 2 sides. Neither good nor bad. That's part of the lesson, by the way. But what our head does is we have the tendency to equate words with other things. So if I say to you that I'm going to bring aboard animals, both male and female, because I want both the positive and the negative, which is which? If I say positive is the male, then I can quote and go along with the stereotyping, blah, and you can hear where it's going, right? It's nuts. We drive ourselves crazy. How many of you saw CBS this morning with Rube Goldberg? Did you see that? We are Rube Goldberg. We can take the most simple task and use unnecessary complication to get it done. And that's a Rube Goldberg. Unnecessary complication. Goes back to the window. I don't need to do anything else except raise my understanding, my level of understanding, lift my consciousness, go into prayer. The solution is there. Flood's going to take care of itself. I don't need to help. The other thing I found really interesting, for those of you who haven't been around boats, the pointy end is called the bow, just saying, and the flat end, the stern. And generally it is from the stern that there is a rudder, yes? The ark has no rudder. Isn't that kind of interesting? Well, how could Noah go where he was going? Don't need to know, do I? There's purpose. Again, it's purpose. But as a builder, you go, I'm going to help. And on the back of the ark, let's build this. And let's put some portholes in the side. Anybody got a stick? We'll put a wide end on one end. Or everybody, stroke. Thanks, Rube. All right? Make it way too complicated. Get simple. Get simple. When stuff shows up in your life, build an ark. Now, you need to be aware and you need to listen. And here's what will happen. The divine will always provide ample warning for whatever you're going to go through. The question is how well do you listen? Noah walked with God. When God said, you want to buy an umbrella? Noah went, how about I build an ark? Right? So when the divine gives you direction, feel free to say yes. Understanding you're going to go through the very same kind of things that Noah did. Where his neighbor said, you're building a what? And today it would be, you don't even have a permit. Right? All this stuff, right? But then I'm going to build it according to the instructions I was given. Not to what I think from my human perspective, but from the instruction given. One window above. One window above. Look up. And the story is even more metaphysical than that as you go through it. There's just piece after piece after piece after piece, because we were talking about this a little bit ago. When I have a problem, what do I need to do? Here you go. Because after they've been floating for about 10 months, give or take, depending on how you read the story, the water began to recede. And Noah sent out a raven from the window. A raven represents a negative thought. That's all it does, represents one. Raven went to and fro, never found anything, and never came back. Interesting. And Noah went, oh man. And 7 days later, there's the 7 days. Initial awareness, insight, imagination, resolve, wisdom, love, and stillness. Full cycle of creation. Then sent out the dove. The dove flew around and came back empty-handed. Think about Noah doing that. What do you think Noah said? Yeah? What's up with this? Right? No. Because remember, Noah walked with God. He learned what? That even if I don't bring it into manifestation right now, I just need to go back into prayer and meditation. I need to go back into the process. There's a reason that it's not manifesting yet, and it's okay. But I need to go back into the process. Awareness. I'm not done yet. Imagination. Rather, insight, imagination, resolve. Saying, I'm going to stick to it. Wisdom, love, and then stillness. In the stillness, I do my work. 7 days, he sends out a dove. Flies around, brings back the olive branch. Yay! And the symbol of that olive branch is huge, by the way, even from a cultural imperative. Because we think about what comes from olives. Olive oil. Yep. Olives themselves. Food, yes? There's signs. Things are looking up. Noah was very wise. He did not lower the plank and say, everybody off the boat. Rob would have said, get off the boat. Because according to the Bible, it was a year that they spent floating around. Because Noah went in at 600 and opened the door on the side at 601. And they break it all down, blah, blah, blah. But it's all about the cycles, completion. And after another week, another 7 days, another cycle of creation, sends out the dove. Dove floats around, never shows back up. Yep, yay, dove found a nest. And then he waited another 40 days. I'm still letting the ramp down. He's got it closed up. Why? What's 40 represent? It needs to be complete. The water has to totally dissipate before I cut loose this creation of mine. 40 days, completion. And then he cuts everybody loose. Go forth and multiply. Yeah? But from a metaphysical standpoint, can you see how important it is that when you seek demonstration, sometimes you send out a raven thought? It doesn't make the raven bad. Remember, it just represents not perfection yet. And you can get all testy, open up the ramp, or breathe. Okay, Lord, I got it. There's something else I still need to do. There's another piece that I need to take a look at. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I work through the process. And then I love the dove as a symbol. Then I send out peace. And that didn't work either from Noah's perspective. Not the first time. How many of us would have been throwing our hands up in the air right about that time? All right? That's one of those, okay, I'm going to look up, what's up with this? Right? From a human perspective. But the truth of it says, wait, it's okay. You're not done yet. There's still more for you to do. Go back in the process. Work the process. The creation story, which is what these 7 steps are, by the way, if you look at them. It's the creation story. You're creating your world. Do you really want to cut the ramp down and cut them loose early? Oh, wait a minute, I've done that before. How do I know? What's my experience been? After your flood, my flood, right? Get back in the boat. Right? That's what it feels like sometimes. And even after the dove brings back signs that things are improving, I go through another cycle. And even after that dove finds a home, I believe, I wait another 40 days until it is done. Then I cut loose. See, we're in too much of a hurry. We need to back up and allow this process to take place. And that's really what it's all about. That's the golden key, is learning to look up. And every now and again, you need to take stock. And I'm going to close with this. I apologize. Please forgive me. Because I painted a picture of me that's not the truth of me, and you bought it. And I apologize for that. Please forgive me. I love you. The picture that I would give you this morning is this. I am whole and well. This day, I choose to express the perfection that I am. How am I doing so far? This is your opportunity to do the same. And here's what I mean by that. When I express perfect love, there is no fear or concern or worry or doubt, because I'm expressing love. That's the truth of who we are. When I'm expressing perfect love, there's no question about perfect life. No question. Now I'm in the realm of my brother, Yeshua, who recognized his perfection and lived it. Pretty much. And the reason I say that is because of the instruction he gave. These and greater things shall you do. That goes back to grace. See how it circles together? This day I choose not to look out the portal. This day I look to the truth of who I am. This day I look in my heart, and I invite you to do the same. And recognizing this body temple is a temple of the living God, this day I can say, I love you. Together? I love you. This day, recognizing this is the temple of the living God, I can say, I bless you. Together? I bless you. This day, knowing this is the temple of the living God, I can say, I appreciate you. Together? I appreciate you. This day, knowing this is the temple of the living God, I look past appearance, see and say, I behold the Christ. Together? I behold the Christ. Now you're ready to open the door and let all your animals out. Namaste.
Thank you for listening. Please feel free to pass this message along to your friends and family. You can obtain additional audio tapes or CDs by visiting our website or by calling our office at 541-772-6902. We invite you to join us in prayer. We know that prayer works, and now you can send your prayer request to our prayer team here at Christ Unity Church by using the form on our website. The activities, programs, and services of this ministry are presented on a love offering basis. All gifts, regardless of size, are gratefully accepted. You may participate either by sending your gift to Christ Unity Church, 540 North Holly Street, Medford, Oregon, 97501, or by visiting us on the internet at www.unitymedford.org.